That's it, I'm live. Let's wait for some people to come in. Anyone coming in? Don't like the camera at this angle. Move over that. Ah, that's better. I can do that. Hey. Anybody in yet? Nobody in yet. La 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 la. Waiting for people to come in. If anybody is watching yet, today's stream is I'm going to be talking about Discoveryland and you face that way. Discoveryland and especially Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain. Hi Jodie. So yeah, today is gonna be that. Hopefully a few more people will come in and then I'll start properly. I feel frumpy, but that's because I'm wearing a big huge fleece because it's freezing, because it went from like 26 degrees down to snowing overnight. Who else have we got in? It says 2. Who else have we got? So yeah, today is Discoveryland and especially Hyperspace Mountain. Jodie, you'll know from earlier I was trying to find my iPad so that I could get some pictures up. I can't find it. That's like the joys of having an iPad mini. It's not even a new iPad mini, it's like from 2014. I was trying to find my iPad. I have no idea where I put it. Usually I would put it in my, I'm going to say my handbag. It's my Baby Yoda, my Grogu Loungefly bag. I would normally put it in there. It's not the best ride in the park, Jodie. I used to say it was, but it's not. We all know what the best ride in the park is. It's over the other side of the park. Literally, it's like in a straight line. So I guess you could say there's like a Disney ley line between the two best rides in the park. Starting at like Phantom Manor and then finishing at Hyperspace. It's like, ooh, hi Russ. I actually caught you on were you on Tina's stream or Kelly's stream? I saw you on one of them. I actually caught you there. It's nice to actually put a face to the name. Thank you so much for coming in. So yeah, today I'm just going to go and get started now. Today I'm talking about especially Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain and the 3 incarnations that it's had at Disneyland Paris, because obviously it's now on its 3rd overlay. Well, 2nd overlay, because it started off as just Space Mountain, then it was Space Mountain Mission 2. Now it's in its best incarnation, which is Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain. And like, I kid you not, as someone that's worked theme parks, I've worked Disneyland Paris, I've worked yes, it was Friday Russ, that's it. It was it the 80s stream? I think it was the 80s stream. But yeah, speaking of someone who's worked Disneyland Paris, someone who's worked Alton Towers, worked various other theme parks in the UK, and has been on many inverted roller coasters, Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain is one of the smoothest inverted roller coasters on the face of the planet. Second only to, I would say, what used to be Air at Alton Towers, but is now Galactica since the VR came in on that ride. Although at the moment, when they reopen, it will just be going back to air. It won't be Galactica for a while because of COVID. But yeah, yeah. So Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain, yes, 80 stream on Wednesday. They all run together. I get the feeling of that, Russ. I really do. Like, sleep just evades me most of the time. Think I could get away with putting those on? Well, they've been distracting me because they keep turning around. Meant to face that way. Stay. So, of course, Hyperspace Mountain is actually, I'm going to say it is the central ride in Discoveryland at Disneyland Paris, because at the moment, Jodie, you'll know this, at the moment, the Orbitron's gone. Like, we've seen aerial photos of Disneyland Paris that have been taken literally about 2 days ago. Everything there is in place, but the Orbitron's gone. So, like, the Orbitron is the Astro Orbiter at Walt Disney World. But yeah, the Orbitron is gone from Disneyland Paris, and there's literally just like a blue tarped over circle where it used to be. It's really strange. It needed a refurb. Goodness knows, all those rockets needed repainting big time. So yeah, so glad that it is getting the refurb, but it was really shocking to see the pictures of it not there. It's like, where's Orbitron? And of course, the castle is literally a box at the moment. The castle is literally in a box. Like, it's me and Jodie were looking at these pictures and we were like, where's the castle? Is this Disneyland? And then we realized the box is the castle. So Disneyland Paris looks so different at the moment. Like, obviously they're taking advantage of the fact that it's closed to do like pretty much all the refurb while it's closed. Avengers Campus over in the street, I have to put this in before I go back to oh, it's amazing. I just want to put in before, you okay, dude? I just want to put in before speaking about Discoveryland, Avengers Campus in Disney World is, whoa, like, I've seen aerial photos of Avengers Campus. The support beams for the Quinjet is there. But the Quinjet will be landing throughout the day. Like, it is due to, and it's, yeah, the support beams for when it lands is there. They are there. They're ready to go. So that's quite a that's quite exciting. And it is Construction Land Paris. It really is. Like, so much, if you look at these aerial photos, so much is fenced off. Like, the only part that really isn't fenced off is Thunder Mesa, Frontierland. So no one's bothered with taking pictures of it because it's the only part that is like normal. Which doesn't surprise me with the length of refurb that it all had. Hi, Mike. Oh, thanks, Mike. It's nice to see you popping in. So yeah, Discoveryland at Disneyland Paris. It's pretty much untouched from when it first opened. Have been like minor changes, but not huge changes. Like, the sign at the entranceway has changed, but only subtly. I'm attending a web seminar for the visually impaired. Oh, that's great to hear, Mike. Mike, I'm gonna try and make this. I hope I managed to give enough of a description of Phantom Manor for you last week and for Frontierland. I'm gonna try and make us. I don't know if you've before you lost your vision, I don't know if you saw what all the theming that is in Discoveryland at Disneyland Paris, but I'm going to try and like describe it like as much as I possibly can. I want to be really, really descriptive. So yeah, I want to make sure that because it's like Russ has actually pointed out, it is so steampunk themed, and the colours and everything there is just so amazing that I want to make sure I do a good job on describing it. So see you, Mike. Hi, Chris, that builds. Welcome in. So Discoveryland, like I said, the sign as you walk in, that's changed only subtly, but it's changed. It used to sort of, I think it used to spin, if I remember rightly, and I haven't seen it spin for a long time now. Yeah, and it's still gold, but I haven't seen it spinning for a while. That is currently gone as well. The sign is not there at the moment. Who knows, maybe we'll get a spinning sign back. So coming into Discoveryland, we've got Chris, Russ, you'll be very aware of what used to be at Epcot when they put the I don't want to say monoliths, I want to walls for the Leave a Legacy. I'm going to say the monstrosities, but we have loads of those at the entrance of Discoveryland in Disneyland Paris, but they look in place there. They suit it. They don't yeah, they don't look bad. And everyone says they love the smell of the pirates' water, the tombstones. That is a brilliant way of putting it. But yeah, they really suit the area at Disneyland Paris, and the colouring of them it's like a red, they're sort of an iridescent-y sort of colour. So you've got reds and tones of red, tones of green, tones of blue, tones of gold. It's very all in that same colour scheme of Discoveryland and the theme, the steampunk theming. Everyone says they always love the pirate water, which is the smell of bromine, and that is the overwhelming smell that smacks you in the face when you go to Discoveryland at Disneyland Paris, because of course we've got a huge water feature there. I used to like that monoliths at Epcot, but now that they're gone, I wonder what I was ever thinking. Oh, Chris, no, I can't. Oh, they were just, I tell you something, when I went to Epcot, for the second time I went to Disney World way back in 2002, and they'd not long been there. Like I couldn't remember what Epcot looked like before. Hi, Kay. I couldn't remember what Epcot looked like before, so I didn't really have anything to go on. But when I went with my son in 2019, I walked in and I remember thinking, this feels a bit crowded. And I realised I was remembering what it was like the first time I went to Disney World and when they weren't there. So yeah, I'm quite glad that they've gone. But we've got something that looks like that at Disneyland Paris as you walk into Discoveryland. Although at the moment I think I'm gonna go with Construction Land, because it is. And of course we've got the Nautilus, and that's why you've got the overwhelming smell of bromine, is because with all the water features going on, you've got the Nautilus, which is over to the right as you walk in. The first thing like you really hit, there's like a kiosk and Autopia. Autopia's got like this really space age roof. Like it really does, like, it's so strange because the whole thing is so steampunk and futuristic, that the whole land is so steampunk and futuristic. But then you've got Autopia as you walk in, and it's like, okay, but they've covered for that by making it look like a space age go-kart track. So it's all very yeah, it's the colouring, it's all very in the same keeping with the colours, like of blue and gold. It's like a teal and gold actually. And it looks like something you'd expect to see in a sci-fi movie. Except the cars themselves just look like the stereotypical Autopia cars. So as you're walking into Discoveryland, over to the right, you're smacked in the face with the smell of fuel and bromine. There's no purple wall, none of that, just fuel and bromine. There's a kiosk where you can get Darth Vader waffles, Stormtrooper waffles. Jodie, do they do Mickey waffles at that stand as well? I can't recall seeing Mickey waffles at that stand. Just the Stormtroopers and the Darth Vaders. And they do the cups. They do the steins that you get at like the Star Wars dessert party that was at the studios when you used to get like the free stein of Darth Vader or of Chewbacca and stuff. They do those there. And they do the BB-8 sipper as well. So yeah, the first like smack bang middle ride like you would normally come to, the very first thing is the Orbitron, but at the moment it's not there. It's just a big hole surrounded by rocks. So walking around Orbitron, that's how you get to Hyperspace Mountain. Hyperspace Mountain, there are so many different entrances to this ride. It's unbelievable. Well, there's 3. I haven't thought that any of the Tomorrowland areas can ever not look outdated. I like the Troy John Star Shanghai, but even it has a 1980s feature theme. Yeah, Paris is very much. I knew it was Tron. Don't worry. Paris is, yeah, it's like you said, it's a steampunk theme, so it's very much futuristic yet turn of the century at the same time. Like not this century, but last century. So it is very much future yet the past going, and but it looks amazing. It still doesn't look outdated, which is the weird thing. It doesn't look outdated. It just looks pretty and picturesque, and like, so yeah, like as you're walking into Discoveryland, if you walk around towards the right of the Orbitron, which is usually there but currently isn't, so I'll get to what that used to look like in a minute because I don't know how that's going to look like when it comes back. So walking around the right hand side of the Orbitron, like we've gone past Autopia, we have the Nautilus, and we don't have the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride. Our Nautilus is a walkthrough attraction. On the Disneyland Paris app, it will always say that there's a 5-minute wait. There's not a wait. There is no wait to get into the Nautilus. And it is such a. It's like the Swiss Family Treehouse, only worth it. So it's quite a fun little walkthrough. So if you're in Disneyland Paris on a busy day and you manage to get a fast pass for Hyperspace Mountain and it's in half an hour's time and you don't really want to leave Discoveryland because of that. So I would say go to the Nautilus, spend some time in there. It's a really such a good little walkthrough, and you're gonna see like it feel. I've just seen your comment, Ross. I'm sorry, I have such a hate relationship with the Swiss Family Treehouse, especially the one in Paris, because you just go up and up and up and up, and it doesn't seem to stop. I like the one in Orlando. It seems to like, it seems to have levels, but the one in Paris is just going up and up and up and up, and nothing seems to happen until you're at the very top. And then because of the sheer amount of people that are like going, you're sort of like, you're, oh, I'm going down again. But yeah, the Nautilus, it's proper like old school submarine like interior, like with the proper compasses and just everything from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It's there right in front of you, and this one is hard for me to describe, just purely because I found the Nautilus to be like, it was overwhelming to the senses. Like, there was so much going in my face that I didn't know which way to look when I last went in. And that's every single time I've been in there, that's been the same. I'm not entirely sure which way to look. I want to look over there, but someone's taking a picture, and I want to go over there, but there's someone taking another picture. And then I'm very aware that there are multiple people behind me, and all of a sudden the room that you're in is becoming really, really crowded. So I'm like, I'm just going to whiz through, and I wish I didn't, because it's such a cute and such a really picturesque. That is actually true. Of the treehouse, that is actually true, Russ. It's just people joining a queue. They don't know what they're queuing for, and the next thing they know, they're back out in front. They're back out in Adventureland. But I will give at night, that treehouse, especially in Paris, that treehouse is, oh, it's beautiful. But I never got to do the Nautilus ride at Disney World, so having the walkthrough at Disneyland Paris is, I guess, is a decent second best. It's so picturesque. Everything's really old and ornate, and like really, really, like the minor details are there, like right down to certain pinpoints that have been made with a compass and stuff. Like you can see the compass, like not the compass that you use directions on, the type of compass that you use to do angles and stuff. Like you can actually clearly see like pinpricks in the desk, in the map, and you can see like it's just what is supposed to be wind, like portholes to seeing the outside. Obviously that is screens, and you see the outside, and it's, well, you see what they would be seeing on the outside, and it's an experience. And I would say, if you ever get to go to, it is, Kay, it really is, it's so beautiful. And I would say, if you ever get to go to Disneyland Paris, you need to do that walkthrough. Like the Swiss Family Treehouse has nothing on the Nautilus walkthrough. The Swiss Family Tree, the last time I went up that Swiss Family Treehouse in Disneyland Paris and just was going up and up and up and up and up, my son pointed out to me, he goes, "Oh, look, Mum, they've been eating Kit Kats." They've been, he genuinely, people had left their rubbish, like they chucked it through like the bars. So you've got to like the main bedroom area of the Swiss Family Treehouse. There was Kit Kat wrappers. There was an actual full-on 4-bar Kit Kat unopened. There was a Twix wrapper, a Doritos wrapper. Like, come on, Disneyland, go and get that stuff out. Nobody wants to see that. And there was also loads and loads and loads of coins thrown into the treehouse. However, the coins in Disneyland have a different purpose, so I'll get to that in a minute. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was a cutting-edge film, one of my favourites. It was a really cutting-edge film, and I think it's important that it has a representation at a park somewhere, so I am so glad that it does have that representation in Paris. I've only ever been there once when it wasn't open, when it was closed for refurb. Usually 90% of the time that I've been, it's open. This one is likely to be closed sort of beginning of March is the sort of time they're likely to close it for refurb. So yeah, also the Nautilus is actually the first thing you'll come to when you exit Space Mountain. So what I would say is, as you're going past the Orbitron and walking around it, don't go off to the Nautilus. Leave that until you've been on Hyperspace Mountain. Unless you've got a fast pass for Hyperspace Mountain and it's a really quick one, then go to the Nautilus. Or go to one of the shops. Don't go into Videopolis or the Hyperion, because who wants to eat a massive meal just before you go on an inverted roller coaster? I know, exactly. It's throwing like trash into the attraction. Like, it's just not like the coins with Disneyland Paris. At Disneyland Paris, every water feature, every fountain, the wishing well, there's even a little sort of Song of the South inspired water feature and statue area in the castle. The coins are actually that are thrown in. They're all collected and they go to a wonderful charity that I can't remember the name of for the life of me, which is really bad, because when I went last, was it January? Pretty sure it was last January. I met Emmanuel Macron's wife because she was there to collect the coins. And I literally happened to be walking past her. She literally walked straight past me, and she actually turned around and she actually said, she was like, bonjour. I was like, oh, bonjour. I do not know you. Bye-bye. And then I found out afterwards it was Macron's wife. And that she was there collecting the coins. Like the UK has Comic Relief, like Red Nose Day, and Children in Need, the telethon charity night, and that's the French's version of that. Disneyland Paris encourage people to throw their spare change into the wells and into the fountains and stuff, because it's all going to that charity, including the coins that are thrown into the scenes of the Swiss Family Treehouse. Although they don't encourage people to throw them in there, it just gets thrown in there. But yeah, Discoveryland. So I'm going to talk about Hyperspace Mountain now. So Hyperspace Mountain, if you are arriving at Disneyland Paris by train, the first thing, technically it's the second thing, but the first close-up thing you will see of Disneyland Paris when arriving by train is Hyperspace Mountain. If you are sat on the left-hand side of the train, facing the direction of travel, facing forwards, then, and you look out your windows, you'll see Tower of Terror first, but the first close-up thing you'll see, which is outside the right-hand side of the train as you're facing forward, the first close-up thing you see is Hyperspace Mountain, and it is stunning to see, absolutely stunning. So the outside of the building, it's sort of like a brownish gold, it's like a bronze sort of colour, with teal railings going up the side. It's very, I want to say it looks like a jigsaw puzzle, but it's like a pyramid jigsaw puzzle. At the top we've got the antenna, which have got there's 2 or 3 antenna, and they've got teal neon lights going around each antenna. And you'll also notice on the outside of the building the cannon, which is the launch for Hyperspace Mountain. And if you stand and you watch that launch, you'll count it goes about every 30 seconds, every 30 to 40 seconds. You'll see it, the door of it actually closes and then it opens, and it's when it's about to launch, you'll see a load of smoke coming out of it, and the next thing you see is this huge flash, and off it goes. So, what's the first thing you usually do when you go into the park? The first thing I usually do when I go into the park, it depends, actually. It depends on crowd level. If it's early enough, the first thing I will do is Hyperspace Mountain, because that queue is going to get very busy. By very busy, I don't mean anything like Disney World level. I mean, like, as soon as it goes over half an hour, I write it off. Unless I can get a fast pass, or if I'm on my own, I just do the single rider. Because Hyperspace Mountain in Disneyland Paris, you sit two together. So it depends. If the queue line, if I'm like with somebody else and the queue goes over half an hour for that ride, I'm like, yeah, yeah. So I wait to see I gauge what the crowd level's going to be like if it's the day I get there, because whenever I go, I usually go by train. I usually go by Eurostar. I've flown there once before, and gotten the magical shuttle from the airport to Disney, and the driver asked me what hotel I was going to, and I said the Cheyenne, and I didn't go because, like, literally we pulled up at the parks first, because that's the first drop off, and there was 5 minutes to go before park close and the Star Wars show was on, and I was like, I'm going. For me, it's the first thing is a bathroom. I don't blame you. I really don't blame you. I went with a friend literally not long ago, like before it got closed, and the very first thing every day was bathroom. If you're my kids, the first thing you did was go to the bathrooms, even if you just went before you left. Bathrooms is a theme. Luckily, I actually know where there's some secret hidden bathrooms at Disneyland Paris. I know where there's a lot of secret hidden bathrooms that people don't know about. In the arcades, go in the arcades behind the shops in Main Street. There's loads of bathrooms. So yeah, Hyperspace Mountain. If I'm going there for early morning magic, the first place I head to is Fantasyland, because if I'm going because if you're an annual pass holder like me, or you're staying at one of the Disney hotels, every single day you get early access to the parks. Now at Disneyland Park, the only ride anyone is really there for early morning magic, and you'll see them do it. They walk calmly, and they're walking calmly, and because they open the gates, like for early morning magic, they'll open the gates at about 8 o'clock, sometimes 7:45, depending on what they're expecting. You just see everyone's taking their time. Oh, look, especially in the winter when it's still pitch black at 8 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's like, oh, it's all up, all pretty. And then it gets to 8:30, which is rope drop. I swear to God, I have never seen people run that fast except outside of the Olympics. And they're all running in the main park. They're all running to Peter Pan. So early morning magic, like, it really is. If you have a plan to go, if you are that intent on going on the Peter Pan ride, you've got no choice. None. You've got to leg it at 8:30. You've got to get to Fantasyland. And I've done this before. Gotten to Fantasyland, waited at the rope drop area for Fantasyland. And just waited and waited and waited and waited. I got there at 8 o'clock, waiting. 8:30, they dropped the rope and leg it to Peter Pan. And only when I did it, I got to Peter Pan, and they went, surprise, it's broken down. like, well, that's that. And as soon as they said it's broken down, the mass of people moved to the fast pass area, and they just stood there and waited. Also, the other place in Disneyland Park that is going to be manic when rope drops for early morning magic is the Princess Pavilion. Fairy Tale Hall. It's just, you're going to queue up for anything up to 2 hours to meet one princess. Not even two, like in Florida, one. So, exactly, Russ, you go in the opposite direction to everyone else. But the only problem is with Peter Pan in the main park, and the same with Crush in the studios. Peter Pan, the queue for the fast pass booths, because there's no you can't book fast pass on your app at Disneyland Paris. It's all done by the ticket still. You still get the piece of paper. In fact, I can get this off of here. I'm just going to rip it off. There you go, that's a fast pass for Tower of Terror from January last year. So that's actually, I got that fast pass. I got this fast pass at about, must have been at about half, like 25 to 9 when I got this fast pass. I wish they did that, Russ. I wish they did that. I really do. Oh, it would help, especially with Crush Coaster, because Crush Coaster, they don't have fast passes at Crush. These are not like they used to, and they are no more. They have the normal line and they have a single rider line. Both lines are ridiculous. Both lines are so stupid. Like, you've got people that are turning up at the studios at 7 o'clock in the morning. Even the non-hotel guests are turning up at 7 o'clock in the morning, having to wait outside the gates. And as soon as they open the gates, it's like a stampede through Studio 1 and turning to the right to get to Crush. Which, by the time that's happened, all the hotel guests have already formed an 85-minute long queue. So Crush Coaster is just, unless you're there at stupid o'clock in the morning, you're just not getting on it. So it's like someone asked me the other day, what is your main Disney wish? And my main Disneyland Paris wish is that they'd reinstall the fast passes at Crush. But Hyperspace Mountain doesn't suffer that fate. Hyperspace Mountain, outside of, like, the only time I've seen the queue longer than 35 minutes was when I went with my son in the May half term. So we have like a late May break. We're just starting virtual queues over here for us. They're literally just, like, when they were reopened really shortly, they were just trying out virtual queues for some of the rides. I think Peter Pan needs it. And Peter Pan over here, like in Paris, it's not like Peter Pan in America. Most of the queue for Peter Pan in Paris is outside. You only go inside literally about 20 feet away from the turnstile. So it's, and that, even then, that's only undercover. That's not inside. You're not actually inside until you're on the ride. So I think like the queue for Peter Pan can go anything up to 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours queue for Peter Pan. Phantom Manor 5 minutes. Explain that one. And that's even on a quiet day. So yeah, Peter Pan, the fast passes are all gone by midday as well. So it's absolute pandemonium. The same with Crush Coaster, but Crush Coaster does not have a fast pass, and even the single riders line will be well over an hour. So it's just, they need to, those are the two rides they need to sort out the most. So Hyperspace Mountain does not have that issue. The most I've seen it is 35 to 45 minutes. I've seen it at 55 minutes once. But the good thing about Hyperspace Mountain is that usually these things are available all day. I've seen a fair few people, like, clearly with all the language barriers in Paris, even when I worked there, I saw this happen quite a lot. People would get the fast pass tickets, they would not read this bit of it, they'd just go straight to the fast pass entrance, which used to be a fire escape before it was a fast pass entrance. But yeah. Yeah, very true, Russ. Very true. With Peter Pan, of course, it does not help that the queue line is so ridiculously short as well. Like, the actual line itself, it's very compact, so you're very squished in, and it's all outside. Phantom Manor, like I said last week, it's the majority of the wait time is walking through the grounds of the manor. By the time you get to the door, you've got about 30-second wait overlooking the entire of Frontierland, and all of a sudden the door opens and you get the B Avenue and in you go. Boom, done. And they keep it moving because where they've got the pre-show, then the stretching room, you know, they can just keep it going. It's constantly moving, whereas Peter Pan's not constantly moving because, like you said, it's a short ride, limited capacity, and it's popular. Peter Pan at Disneyland Paris has also changed. We've no longer got, when it reopens, Tinkerbell and the Native Americans have gone. They are no longer in that ride. So yeah, Hyperspace Mountain. This ride started off life as normal Space Mountain. It's always been this sort of bronze and teal masterpiece. I'm going to call it a masterpiece because it looks stunning. It's always been a bronze and gold and brown, like, outside. It's typical, stereotypical in Space Mountain shape. But it's obviously got the teal sort of beams going up to it. It's got hints of red, and it's got the spires on the top, the antennas on the top with the light blue neon lights, the teal neon lights going around them. Very, very pretty at night. It's started off life as just normal Space Mountain. Then it's had 4 incarnations then, because it started off as just normal Space Mountain. Then it switched to Space Mountain Mission 1. Then it was Space Mountain Mission 2. Now it's Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain. At first, it was quite a rickety sort of ride, as you'd expect. Like Space Mountain in Orlando, it's very much. They're taking the Native Americans out of all of them now. I wonder why Tinkerbell. Oh, no, not Tinkerbell. Tiger Lily, sorry. Not Tinkerbell. Tiger Lily. I got mixed up there. Tiger Lily's gone. Which anyone would know. Tiger Lily is a key part of the actual play of Peter Pan. She was a written character. She should not be taken out of the ride. You know, she needs to be there because she is actually integral to the story of Peter Pan. Before it was even Disney, she was integral to the story of Peter Pan. When you see stage shows of it and stuff, Tinkerbell is there. In this country at Christmas, we have what's called a pantomime, and when you see a Peter Pan one, Tiger Lily's there. So Tiger Lily is, to me, essential, and I don't know why they're taking her out. I can understand taking the Native Americans out, but Tiger Lily needs to stay there because she is an integral part of the story of Peter Pan. But yeah, Hyperspace Mountain, Space Mountain and Space Mountain Mission 1. Our Space Mountain has always had a sound and lights show. Not so much when it was Space Mountain and Space Mountain Mission 1. It was very much very basic lighting and very basic sound. The sound was around you, it wasn't with you. Mission 2, they changed the trains. The harnesses were still the same, god awful harnesses that are rock solid, like your stereotypical harnesses. Although I will give it its props, Space Mountain Mission 2, this is an inverted roller coaster. There is nowhere for you to leave your bags. You have to take your bags on this inverted roller coaster with you. They don't have any special compartments on the cars. They don't have, like in the studios, RC Racer has lockers. Parachute Drop has lockers. If I remember rightly, towards the end of its life, Rock and Roller Coaster had lockers. It's interesting what people complain about without understanding the reasons. We had the same conversations this morning. Trader Sam was removed from Jungle Cruise, but it's for true racist reasons. Yeah, see, when it is actually for, like, when it's not integral to the story, then I understand it. But when, like, say, Tiger Lily, she was actually written as part of Peter Pan, not put there by Disney. She wasn't put there to bulk out the film. She was and is still an integral part of that play. Like, that is part of Peter Pan. And so I think we need to find a way, like, if you're gonna portray her respectfully. And I do think Tiger Lily herself, she, in my opinion, was not portrayed in a bad way. The Native American scene, I could see why it would anger a lot of Native Americans, definitely. But Tiger Lily herself, she's integral to the plot of Peter Pan. That's so she should be left in. So yeah, Hyperspace Mountain. Space Mountain Mission 1 and Mission 2 had they did have themes, but you were going on a mission. Mission 2, like I said, they changed the trains, and it was for the shortest of time. You had padded seats for the shortest of times, and also the speakers were either side of your head, so you had like the sound, and you had a very, very vivid and clear light display and everything for like the planets, and you would see nebulas, and you would see black holes, and you would see planets, and you'd see comets and asteroids and all sorts. So it was really, really visual, and it wasn't dark. It wasn't dark because of the amount of light going on in there. It was so, you could actually, it was so good. But at the same time as it being really light in there, you still couldn't tell what bit of the track was coming when. The only bit of the track that you could actually tell was a corkscrew. That was the only bit of the track that I could tell. Mission 2 was comfy, but not as comfy as Hyperspace. Like Mission 2, the trains, like you had leg room. There was room for you to have your bag and hook the straps, like if you've got a backpack, to hook the straps over your legs. It was just, it was, the leg room was fantastic. Now on Hyperspace Mountain, yes, we have got these amazing picturesque cars, right? They're blue and gold, and the seats are red, and like really picturesque and beautiful cars that look really steampunky. They look in keeping with the whole theme of the area, with like the turn of the century and futuristic. And they remind me of the Nautilus, actually. But they look fantastic. The harnesses, when you see the harnesses that when they're up, that's a bit daunting, because the harnesses for Hyperspace Mountain have got this padded layer, and they've then got the bars, so they've got like a metal structure and the padding. The trains for Hyperspace Mountain. The trains for Hyperspace Mountain. I love the look. I love the padded harnessing. However, it doesn't give you a lot of movement. Like, because it comes down and it's really tight. They will really make sure that this harness is on tight. Like, there is virtually no breathing room when you've got these harnesses on. But it's padded, so that makes it feel a bit better. But you've got the padding, and then you've got the bars, which are out here. So you've got the padding. Usually when you're on a roller coaster, you hold on there and you've got room to put your hands out. Not on Hyperspace Mountain. Hyperspace Mountain, because also you're so close to the person next to you, like, you're like that. So whenever like the photo for Hyperspace Mountain is right at the very start, before you've even gone up the launch, is right at the very start. And there's an animal fighting outside. I know exactly what sort of animal it is, but if I say it, the dog's going to go off on one. But yeah, like, usually for the ride picture, I just about manage to jazz hands. I'm like, I'm here on the road. Or I'll hold on to the bars and just go, Next time I go on, I'm going to try a Rob Fuzz. I'm going to try and get like enough room to just go like that. My son's picture was the best one. He was not impressed. I dragged him on there. I was like, you're going to enjoy it. He was not impressed. He was like, but yeah, foot room in the cars for Hyperspace Mountain is non-existent, which means if you are a taller person, good luck. But yeah, the leg room is, and then to think about it, if you have not got someone who's not going on, that means you've got to look after your bags. And if you've gone into the theme park with more than one bag, you've got to take those on that ride. It's not a rabbit giraffe. It's not an elephant. We don't have animals on the show except for our pets. This is an all-human show. However, that is a couple of CATs fighting outside, and I am not going to say the actual word. No. Like, leg room on Hyperspace Mountain is non-existent, and then when you've got a backpack on top of that, like I said to Jodie the other day, because Jodie was talking about, we were talking about Disney bounding when we next go together, and I was looking at getting a Dumbo backpack, and then it hit me, I'd have to take that on Hyperspace. Hell no, I'm gonna get, we call them a bum bag, you guys call them a fanny pack. I'm gonna get, I've got the Dumbo Loungefly that came out with a mini main attraction. I'm gonna take that. I've also, like, when I'm not Disney bounding, I've actually got, from my job, because we do sellings, I've got money belts, like really glittery sparkly ones that they don't look like typical money belts, but I've got them. So I just sort of take those with me when I'm going to Disneyland Paris, because it's so much easier. It's also easier for bag check, because I can just whack that off, stick it on the belt, and off it goes. There's so many people with bag check make a big deal out of it. I'm just leaving it. We've got a Rottweiler on the farm. She'll be around there soon. But yeah, so many people make a big deal out of putting their bag. It's literally, bag check at Disneyland Paris is the same as at an airport. You just dump your bag on the conveyor. It goes through the X-ray. You pick it up on the other side. Now, so many people have to go through it. Oh, I must put this coat. I must take this coat out. Stop it. Just put it on the conveyor and go through. So I just take a money belt. The only thing I put in there is actually my power bank and my charger cable. That's literally the only thing I put in there, because everything else I have on my lanyard around my neck. I have my pass on my lanyard. I have my Apple Pay. I have it. I also carry my debit card around my neck in case Apple Pay fails to work. I very rarely will take cash with me. Why do people bring so much stuff to the parks? Exactly. I kid you not, the amount of times I've been to these parks, like when I'm at the Eurostar station in Ashford, which is like literally about 5 miles away. When I can get out, actually, I'm going to have to film a quick I'm going to film a quick vlog for you guys to show you the Eurostar terminal at Ashford, because even the elevator is made to look like the Disneyland Paris castle. Everything's decked out Disneyland. So I'll have to take you on a quick, like, Eurostar's not running from Ashford until 2022. But I should have to take you on a quick trip up there. But yeah, like when I've been at that terminal and I've seen people that are going, and it's just the two of them, and they've got 4 or 5 suitcases between them, and these, I'm not talking small suitcases, I'm talking like it's as if they're taking their entire house with them. And these suitcases are already full because you can see them trying, like they oh, I've lost something, and you look at it and you think, how long is your stay? Because the maximum amount of nights you can stay at one of the Disneyland Paris hotels is 7. And in fact, recently, that was only updated recently, because for the longest time, the maximum you could stay was 6. And most days, the average stay at Disneyland Paris is 2 or 3 nights. Why do you need 4 or 5 gigantic filled to the brim suitcases for 4 or 5 nights? Because of course, if you're going by train as well, you don't have the luggage restrictions that you get on plane, which is fantastic. Obviously, like with the train, you can just take as much as you want. It's the opposite for me. I take as little as I can, and then I come back with it. I'm not even going to say how much I came back with last time. Like literally, I took a backpack, and then I took it wasn't a big suitcase, it was the size of a carry-on suitcase. And the carry-on, I went through security at Ashford. They're like, you've got nothing in it. No, I know I've got nothing in it, but I will have when I come back. And I did. So yeah, like the good thing about Disneyland Paris as well, like, I say the good thing, is really not a good thing, because to even get onto Disneyland Paris property, you have to go through security, which when you've got people that are going to the parks before going to their hotels, because yes, you can do that at Disneyland Paris, like there isn't, if there's, especially if you're going by train, you've got the Disney, it's called Disney, you guys have the Magical Express, we have what's called Disney Express check-in, where you check into your hotel either on the train if you're going from London, or if you're going from Kent, which is where I am, I'm literally about 5-6 miles away from the Ashford station. Well, I say 5 or 6, it's actually more like about 10. Because if you were to go in a straight line, it's about 5 or 6, but because this is in the middle of nowhere, it's very much like that, so it turns into 10 or so. But that's when you tell them it's your smuggling bag. But yeah, it's when you check in, use the Disney Express check-in service, and you've checked into your hotels, you've gotten your park tickets, they call it your magic pass, which I don't have my old one here. Oh, I left it in the hotels. Jodie, I left my magic pass at the Sequoia Lodge. When you are on the train, you can get your magic pass and everything. on the train or at Ashford. So you drop when you get off the train, when you get off the Eurostar, you go up to the top floor of when you go up to the top. I know Magical Express is going away. I just hope they keep the magical shuttle from the airport, which I think they will, because the magical shuttle from the airport to Disneyland Paris has always been paid for, so like it's not a free service. So I guess they'll be keeping that one. But yeah, when people are going straight to the parks after getting off the train or getting off of the coach, when a lot of people will get off of the coach at the main station, because they then have to transfer from the coach to a different bus. And for the people that are staying at Val d'Europe, that means they have to go through Disneyland and then out to the south, because you arrive at the north bus depot, and then you have to go through Disneyland and out to the south bus depot if you're going. So a lot of people, they've got no choice to even get onto Disney property. You have to go through security. So imagine the people that have taken 4 or 5 suitcases per person. Like, those queues are taking forever. Luckily there are so many security, like there's so much. It's not like the parks that I found in Orlando where there's only a few. It's really uber Russ. I'm gonna remember that. But yeah, like they've recently extended the security tents at Disneyland Paris as well. So I'm trying to think how many there are. I think there's about 30. I think there's about 30 security points at the main entrance of Disneyland Paris. They do move quite quick because of the sheer amount of them. They do move quite quick. They're the ones that don't move quick, and it's always the same ones. There's 4 or 5 that are smack bang in line with the centre of the Disneyland park opening, and they're always jam-packed. So go over to either the studio side or actually a lot of people go to the studio side as well, but the centre ones are always, but go to the ones at the far ends. They're really quiet and you get through really quick. And what I do when I get in, because I've usually got like a backpack and a pull along, and like I said, all I need in the park with me is what's already around my neck and my power bank and my phone charger cable. Where's my power bank? That's literally the only thing I take into the park with me, along with my charger cable. So literally all I do is I make sure that I've got my money belt on before I even get off the train, get through security. The perks of having an Infinity Pass, they used to do this on the Magic Plus, but then they took this away. But the perks of having an Infinity Pass is that you can use the guest storage for completely free. So I go over to the guest storage, and I see so many people, and they'll sort of linger around. What do we do with the luggage? I don't know what to do with the luggage, and I just leg it to the it's nice to be kind to the security. They do put up with a lot, and in Paris that's even worse, because if you think about it, there's, like I've said before, multiple languages being spoken. Although I will say they don't say a word. The security guards will very rarely speak to you at Disneyland Paris. It's very much put it on there. Uber Rush does sound very, yeah. Next time I'm in Orlando. Next time. So I always use the guest storage. I'll go, and you can, if you've got a Infinity Pass, I believe it's up to 3. I think it's up to 3 bags you can leave in the storage for free. After that, it's a discounted rate. So I just leave both my backpack and my case in there, and then I just head into the parks. And of course, the Infinity and Magic Plus holders have a different. They can use any turnstile, but they have a different turnstile. If you go, and the annoying thing is the baggage hold, the guest storage, is to the as you walk into the parks is over at the far right, whereas the annual pass entrance is over to the far left. So you have to go and cut through the mass of people that are queuing to get in anyway. But yeah, so I'm very rarely having to take a backpack onto Hyperspace Mountain with me. But so many people don't think about it. They think that they'll have, because the theme parks in this country, all have lockers. So when you're getting on a ride, all of the theme parks in this country have lockers. You are not taking that bag on the ride with you. It's going in a locker. And these are not secure by any means. Well, they are, because they're being watched over by the people that are working there. But like, it's not a locker as in you're going to lock it in its own separate thing. It's like a cabinet. You're just shoving it on a shelf and off you go. But even having that at Hyperspace Mountain would be so much like I said, leg room, because the cars are, they narrow, they straight and then they narrow at the front, which is awful. And even if you're sat in one of the behind, because if you're sat in one of the behind compartments, even though you're not at the front of the train that's doing that, for some reason the leg room still does that. Do you have to go through the AP line? Though we have those lines, but you don't have to use it. You can go through any line whatsoever. But the AP line at Disneyland Paris is so unknown about that it's always quiet, always empty. Literally, nobody really knows about it. The only people that really know about it are the people that have used it before, because I know so many people that have got Infinity passes and Magic Plus passes, and they don't realize where they like, oh, we heard there's its own entrance but we can't find it. Like, go right the way over there. And again, with the turnstiles at the main park, it's only the center ones that are really, really busy. Like, the ones at the edges are not busy, so everyone just seems to congregate in the center. They can. If you are going via the Disney Express, though, like I've said, I didn't finish saying about the Disney Express check-in, and you've already got your tickets. You actually go to the top of the train station, and there's actually kiosks for each hotel, and you leave your luggage there and they will take it to the hotel. They won't take it to your room, but they'll take it to the hotel baggage hold. But the hotels do have baggage hold, but to even get to the hotels you have to go through security, so you're screwed. Like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. The only way you will not go through security to get to the hotels is if you've walked there from the Disney parks. So whichever way you go, you've got to go through security. Sequoia Lodge in particular is like, yeah, you must follow the herd. It is, and I try my best not to follow the herd. I know where the herd's going to go, so I will do the exact opposite, or I will go so fast that I beat them. Sequoia Lodge, and various other hotels, I do know a way of getting into them bypassing security. However, I probably shouldn't say that, because then they'll put security on those entrances too. Santa Fe, Cheyenne, going through the gift shop. Sequoia Lodge, there is an entrance that was right near my hotel room, actually. So if you go, there's like a little courtyard, if you go to that courtyard and go in, you'll end up in a corridor full of rooms, but that means you've bypassed security because you're already at the rooms. Newport Bay, you can't really do it, because if you go in the back entrance, which is where Cape Cod and everything is, to get to the lobby, like, you emerge into the lobby and waiting for you is security, because the front of the hotel is dead opposite the back of the hotel, which means you're in the same entrance hall, so you're screwed. You've got to go through security. Disneyland Hotel, you've got to go through security to get in. Actually, no. Disneyland Hotel, you only got to go through security to get in if you have arrived via car and haven't been through the main security yet. Oh, that would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing, Russ. If they had like a people mover to take you to your hotel, that would be. But in saying that, the hotels at Disneyland Paris, I will always say this: there's no need for the bus. There's no need for the bus. It takes you 10 minutes to walk to the furthest hotel. I've got a video of me doing it on my channel. I walked from the furthest point of the Cheyenne, which is the furthest away from any of the parks, and I did it in 10 minutes. That was including getting through security at the village. So it's, yeah, like the only time I can condone the buses at Disneyland Paris is, one, if you're disabled. So many people go, oh, my feet are killing me. Like, by the time their bus comes, they could have been back in their hotel and in their room. It's absolutely ridiculous. And let's face it, these people have never been to Walt Disney World, because I walked, I think it was about 22 miles in one day at Disney World. At Disneyland, I think the maximum not when I was working. When I was working, I was walking a lot more. Not as a guest, the most I've walked, I think, is about 14 miles in a day. Stream on Saturday. Oh, Russ. Yeah, the resorts at Disneyland Paris are every single one is walkable. Like I said, even the furthest one away took me 10 minutes. 10 minutes. The off-site hotels, I can't believe I've deviated from Discoveryland and Hyperspace to the hotels. I don't mind it though. But the off-site hotels at Disneyland Paris, Val d'Europe, their bus system is a lot better than the Ile-de-France hotels. The Ile-de-France hotels, it's bendy bus. All bendy buses in France. You've got, and the Radisson Blu. The Radisson Blu is a partner hotel, and that has its own bus all to itself. So that's by far the best off-site hotel. Yeah, blame Chris. Yeah, the best, like, Radisson Blu is the best off-site partner hotel at Disneyland Paris. It has its own bus service. You don't have to worry about making multiple stops. But if you're staying in the Ile-de-France hotels, which are the Hotel B&B, the Explorers Hotel, the Magic Circus Hotel, the Dream Castle Hotel, and the Campanile, which used to be called the Kyriad, these 5 hotels, I think it's only 5 there, isn't it? B&B, yeah, it's only 5. They're sharing a bus. Now, at the end of the day, at the very end of the day, that's when you're going to get a stampede of people that are going to the bus stops, I will point out, Disney do not own the land that the bus stops are on. The only land that Disney own at Disneyland Paris is all through security. Oh, were you on the Easter egg hunt? On the Easter egg scavenger hunt? I'd love to do that one. I love that. I've seen the Dumbo one this year, and oh, he's so cute. I love Dumbo. But yeah, lost my train of thought. Disney do not own what's called the hub, which is where you'll find the train station, the buses, the taxi run, the Ubers, all of that lot. Disney do not own that land. So many people think they do, and they get angry with Disney because they have like that. You'll find street vendors selling stuff for like, oh, buy this jumping dog for €1. Buy this light up Eiffel Tower for €1. Look, a drone, it's €1. Oh, you made it. Ah, that's so cool. Oh, I'll have to watch that. But yeah, and so many people also complain. They'll complain to Disney because somebody was in the hub smoking weed. Now, and they're like, oh, this is Disneyland. How can you allow people to do that? It's not Disneyland. That patch of land is not Disneyland. Disneyland have no jurisdiction there. Disneyland's own security are not allowed to operate there. That is why you see armed police and armed military at that point, because that is not Disneyland. Like at the exit of the Disney Village, quite often there's armed military stood either side of the exit of the Disney Village. And that's because from the second you come out of those green gates, you're no longer in Disneyland. So a lot of people think that when they're going to the buses, that they're still in Disneyland, but they're not. Because Disney don't own that land. So that's just something to be wary of. When you're going to the buses, Disney don't own that land. They cannot stop the absolute myriad of street traders. They cannot stop them. That's something Disney Dam would be really livid about. But I live in a caravan. I have to have bottled water. The ownership of Disney parks, that's really interesting. It is. Disneyland Paris own a lot of land. They have a third park in the pipeline. As I'm probably sure you've heard news about things going into place for that. 2036, we are expecting a new park. It was always said it was going to be a 3-park resort, and we now have a third park in the pipeline. It's very early days, but it's there. They do own a lot of land. They have loads of land that they can build on, but the land where the train station is, what you've got to think, this train station serves not just Disneyland, but it serves that area in general. So it's not actually a Disneyland owned railway station. It's Marne-la-Vallée, Chessy. It's not serving. It's not a solely Disneyland train station. It's at Disneyland. It's Disneyland is located at that spot. That train station was there before Disneyland. Like that's where you'll get your RER train into Paris itself, and all sorts. It's people don't realise that 2017 Epcot's never going to be finished. Never. I don't think Walt would allow it to be finished, in all fairness. Like any of the Disney parks, he would never have allowed them to ever be finished. So people forget that land is like, but they don't forget, they just don't know that land is not owned by Disney. Therefore, Disney have no authority to stop these street traders. And there was a breakdancing show that went out on there one night years ago when I worked there, and I thought that was fantastic. Like literally they have no way of stopping it, none. So yeah, if you've not been through the parking toll booths at the entrance of Disneyland Paris to get to the car parks, or you've not been through security, then sorry, you're not on Disneyland property. And if you come back out of the exit, and the only exit of Disneyland Paris, actually, if you're walking, if you're not going to the car parks, if you're going to the north bus, if you're exiting the Disneyland to go to the north bus stop, which is for the hotels and everything, then that's, you know, that's the only exit. Once you go through that gate, that's it, you're not in Disneyland. The south bus stop, which is down the other end, sort of, there's, so I'd say there's Planet Hollywood here. If you come around this section, there's Disney Village. If you go over in that direction is the bus stops. But if you go around Planet Hollywood and around World of Disney and back up in that direction, that's the south bus stop. And again, once you're through the gate, you're not on Disney property. So there's nothing that Disney can do to stop the street vendors, and people complain about that all the time. Anyway, getting back on topic, Hyperspace Mountain, like I said, the seating room is ridiculous, and the harnesses are huge, very padded, which makes for a really, really smooth ride. If you've not been on this ride before, the first time I went on this ride, I didn't realise I was actually on my side coming into the station. I've gone through on the ride. For the most part, you cannot tell where the inversions are. You can sort of just about gauge where the inversions are because of the G-forces, but the only inversion that you can full on tell where it is the corkscrew, because you can see it. You can see it's light enough in there to see it. But as you're coming into the station to come off of the ride, you're actually on your side. So you're coming into the station in sort of that position. You don't realise you're in that position until all of a sudden the car goes like that. And then you realise that you've been on your side. It's a really smooth ride. Like, no need for massage chairs coming off of our Hyperspace Mountain. No need for that. There never was any need for that because it was always a really smooth ride. It's, like I said, it's probably the second smoothest roller coaster I've ever been on. 3 inversions, one of which is a 360 loop. It was not the first inverted roller coaster in Disney Park. That was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril, which is also at Disneyland Paris. However, I do not go on that one because that one I fear will give me a brain hemorrhage because of how shaky and headachy, and wear padding on around your head is what I'm going to say for that one. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril used to go backwards as well. For a while it went backwards. Like when I worked there, it was backwards. It finished going backwards I'd say about 15 years ago. 20 years ago it started going backwards. So I'd say about 15 years ago it stopped going backwards and they switched it to forwards again. But for about 5 years it was a backwards roller coaster, which was quite funny for people that were unsuspecting and didn't realise it was backwards. I don't like India. I do not like that roller coaster. My favourite Disney roller coaster, like I said, is this one, Hyperspace Mountain by far. The overlay for Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain, it just suits it so much. Like, and there's something about Star Wars I love hearing in French. I think I prefer hearing all the, like, the First Order and the Empire. I like hearing all of their generals in French. I really do. I just think it's fantastic. Like in the queue lines, they speak in both French and English, but the actual ride itself, they are speaking in French. So it is obviously it's the same as California. Still got its Hyperspace Mountain overlay. I'm not entirely sure, but it's, yeah. There's a lot of First Order banners and stuff in, and mainly Rebel banners actually. There's a couple of First Order banners, but The main banners are rebel banners, because you're going on a rebel mission, but it's all in French. And there's this really awesome part of it, and I mean this is a really awesome part. When it was mission 2, I think that's why we only have the one coaster that inverts. WDW has to accommodate to the many, and the family friendliness is important. Rock and roller coasters. I'm not sure. I know that Rock and Roller Coaster in France had more than 2. It had 3 or 4. I'll have to look it up, because I can't wait for it to reopen as the Iron Man coaster. That's going to take forever. But yeah, Rock and Roller Coaster here, it had more than two inversions. Again, one was a 360 loop. I think it had 4 or 5 inversions. Oh, cool! That's brilliant for it to still be Star Wars. Is there a way to film Hyperspace Mountain? I've not seen. There is plenty of footage of both California and Paris. Filming the Paris one, I'm going to need a wrist mount, purely because I don't want to drop my phone, because I've only got my phone, so I'm going to need like a wrist mount for my phone. Other people that I've seen filming it have filmed it with GoPros that are strapped to the harnesses, because like I said, once those harnesses are down, you've not got a lot of moving room. You are pretty much held in place, and they tell you straight, ride with your head back. They actually say it before you go. They say they make, when they're really, they really make sure that these harnesses are down, and when they're making sure they're down, if your head's forward, if you're like looking like that whoever's next to you, like head back. I don't think it does, Russ. Looking at the harnesses, I'm not entirely sure if it does. I'm not entirely sure. It's interesting. I shouldn't imagine it does, you know. I shouldn't think it will, because it's like you said, at Disney World, it seems to be a lot more that they want to include family a lot more, so I can't imagine it having inversions. It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, Disneyland Paris, the only roller coaster that doesn't have an inversion, or Crush Coaster doesn't really have an inversion. It does go vertical, but it doesn't have an inversion. Which is what it goes. That's why you have the harness. But the only one that doesn't really do anything like that is Big Thunder Mountain, and even that's on a bigger scale than at Disney World. See, that's what I'm thinking, Russ. I'm thinking it's just that it's got high banks and a spin like Crush. I'm thinking that's it. I don't think it'll have an inversion. It could do, but looking at the type of cars, I don't think it's an inverted one. Just because with the amount of theme parks I've worked at, I don't know, with the different cars I've seen, I've not seen a car in that shape that's managed to do an inversion. It might do, don't know, but I don't know. I think it's more a case of it's just going to have the high banks and the spins. And it's like Thunder looks so much cooler. Big Thunder in Paris is insane. I absolutely love Big Thunder in Paris. It's just wonderful. But Hyperspace Mountain, there is this amazing part that's midway through the ride, and I never noticed this in Mission 2. It slows to a near enough halt, and you're going up, and it's a high bank, and you're sort of doing that, so you're nearly upside down, and then that's when you sort of go down and you see the corkscrew coming, and that bit happens because a Star Destroyer is coming over you. it's a very quick roller coaster. It does not have, like, when you exit Space Mountain at Disney World, it has a full-on gift shop. This one doesn't have a full-on gift shop. It has the booth for the photo, which, if you don't have a photo, we have Photo Pass at Disneyland Paris, but it's different. It's very different. Like, it won't automatically upload. You have to go and have your card, your Photo Pass card scanned. I'm supposed to have, like, because I've got the Infinity Pass, I've got an annual Photo Pass. However, like, my Infinity Pass was renewed at literally a week before the closure. So, and because it was a renewal, what they do as a promotion is, with a renewal you get 4 extra months. So it's basically a 16-month pass, not an annual pass, it's a 16-month pass. So I was already thinking, what do I do with the 4 months, because it's an annual photo pass? What do I do with the 4 months that are extra? And then of course this happened, so my photo pass card has now expired. So it's like, do I get another one? It'd be very interesting to know. So yeah, you need to, like, if you want your ride photo, you need to go, remember the number, go to the booth. Photo Pass doesn't automatically come with your tickets. It's an extra you have to buy. It can cost anything up to 60-70 quid for Photo Pass. If it has no gift shop, then technically it isn't a Disney ride. It's got a little gift kiosk. But yeah, the first thing you'll come to, like, when you come off the ride, if you go left, you end up at PhilharMagic. If you go right, you'll end up at the Nautilus. So I'm gonna, like I've mentioned the Nautilus, so I'm gonna go around to the left, where you come to PhilharMagic. I've not done PhilharMagic at Disneyland Paris. I know that we don't have the duck butt. I've not ever really been a fan of PhilharMagic, so I didn't ever see the need to go into the one at Disneyland Paris. That same theatre where PhilharMagic currently is also where Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Captain EO used to screen at Disneyland. And next door to that is Star Tours, the gift shop for Star Tours, actually, so which is the exit of Star Tours. Oh, I better say, back to Hyperspace Mountain, I better say, you have the main entrance, which is to the left. To the right of the main entrance is the single riders line. If you've got a fast pass, your entrance is a fire escape, which is around the other side of the building. So there are 3 queues coming in, and it's the same with Ratatouille. They have a normal queue line, fast pass, and single rider. So they have 3 queue lines feeding in, and it moves very quickly. So, like, 9 out of 10 times I'm on my own, so I'll just take the single rider line. If the single rider line is saying 40 odd minutes, which it can do on a busy day, I'll look at what the fast pass line is. I remember one day when I was there last January. No, not last January, 2 Marches ago, March 2019. It was a high intake day. The single rider line was at 30 minutes, and the fast pass time was also 30 minutes. So rather than waste my time stood in a queue, I got a fast pass, and I went and did Buzz. So Star Tours at Disneyland Paris, it's behind Space Mountain. You've got the Starport, which is where you meet Darth Vader, and you've also got Luke Skywalker's X-Wing is on the top of that Starport. meeting Darth Vader at Disneyland is insane. And yes, he speaks both French and English. All you need to do is speak, and the language will just automatically be there. It's the same with the stormtroopers. When you're meeting the stormtroopers at Disneyland Paris, meeting the stormtroopers is absolutely fantastic, actually, because naturally they speak in English, and then when someone goes up to them in French, you'll hear translate mode on, and the next thing you know, they're speaking French. And when they finish speaking to the French person, it's translate mode off, they're back into the English. The wait for Darth Vader can get pretty busy. He's there all year round. He's not just at the Star Wars season, he is an all year round meet and greet. What would that sound like, Russ? Could you imagine the breathing in French? I'd love it. I'd love it if the breathing was in French. Star Tours is to the far left. The entrance to Star Tours is to the far left. The busiest I've seen the Star Tours queue get to was about 45-50 minutes, and that was on a high intake day. Star Tours in Disneyland Paris is potluck. They run it in both English and French, but it's potluck which language you get. I've been on, when I've gone there first thing in the morning, it's usually English. I've been on, I got so lucky in November 2019 when I went, and I couldn't believe this. I could not believe my luck. We could hear screaming. We thought, that's not, people don't usually scream on this ride. Well, they sometimes do, but not like that. And again, when people were leaving, they were screaming and they were jumping, and some people were crying. And I thought, what on earth is going on? And we got on there. It's all in English. It was The Rise of Skywalker. They were playing The Rise of Skywalker 1. The Rise of Skywalker wasn't even out, and we had The Rise of Skywalker in English. And the people that I was sitting next to had flown over from California. So I thought, this is even better, because they have now got the experience of a lifetime. Like, this is insane. Like, this film isn't even out, and we're seeing The Rise of Skywalker, Star Tours. It's like, what? And so yeah, that became very clear very quickly what was going on. I didn't just turn those on, by the way, they're on a timer. So yeah, we had we still have the Rebel Spy. Like I said, it's potluck whether you're a Rebel Spy in English or French. It's up to them. It's whatever they've put in the player. If yeah, literally had no idea that they were playing the Rise of Skywalker once, and this was before the Rise of Skywalker came out, and it was insane, and it was right at the start. Nervy, yeah, it's the curse of Rocket. And Groot, because Groot is now but yeah, that was the best experience I've ever had on Star Tours. When you're waiting to go on the ride, it's in French. You don't get the option, like sometimes it'll be in English, but you get a very small snippet of the English, but the rest of it is in French. It's the same spiel that's played before Star Tours in Hollywood Studios, but it's in French. And it's the same video, exactly the same, but it's in French. So you go on thinking you're going to get a French C-3PO, you go on thinking you're going to get French everything, and I'll tell you something, when it's dubbed in French, it's so funny, because like Lando, like he's finished talking, but he's there because the French is still going. But yeah, when they surprised us with The Rise of Skywalker, just like when that happened, it was suddenly understandable why everybody was screaming on that ride. It was a low intake day, a very low intake day, because I went the week between Halloween and Christmas. So when they're pulling down from Halloween and they're putting everything up for Christmas. So I went for that week. I saw the two sort of, I saw more Christmas arriving and Halloween going. There's a really sweet part in the middle of the week where they were both sort of combined. And but yeah, did not expect oh Russ. I'll have to ask Raph. My friend Raphael works there. Raphael's amazing. I was supposed to actually, that November that I was there, we had spoken and he goes, oh, you're going to come and watch the fireworks with me? I'm going to be working fireworks. You're going to come up and watch it? Yeah, I'll be there. I got there and he was too busy spinning in circles because a kid was telling him to go faster and faster and faster. He didn't even realise I was there. And then I got a message about 3 hours after park closed. Where were you? I was stood right there. I was like, you were too busy spinning in circles. But no, like when going the week between Halloween and Christmas was amazing, and got to see the soft opening of the Christmas parade, which was an unannounced. They did not announce they were going to be running it. They didn't announce anything. They just did it. It was obvious that something was going on because the guest experience team were all over the place, and usually they're quite hard to find. But instead, they were all over the place, and they I thought, this is strange. They're not usually out. And then all of a sudden the ropes went up and I thought, oh, we're getting the Christmas parade. And we got the Christmas parade. I stood right in front of a speaker and the speaker blew out. And it's on the video. It's on the video. I've got a video of that Christmas parade on my channel, and sure enough, the speaker blew out. And that video is actually the same. It's the parade twice. I filmed the parade twice. It's the same parade. It wasn't as in the same parade just gone out at a different time. I beat the parade from one end of the park to the other via the arcades. Because you can do that at Paris. You can watch, if you watch any of the parades from their starting point, if you use the tunnels and the arcades, you can beat them down Main Street to the other end where they finish. So you can actually see the start and end of the parade. However, if it's the Frozen show, you've just really got to leg it because it starts and finishes in the same area. So yeah, Star Tours exits into a gift shop, Star Traders. This is consider we don't have a Galaxy's Edge yet. We are getting a Galaxy's Edge, but not until around about 2025, I think it is. Might even be later now because of everything going on. And we're only getting like a miniature version of it. We're not getting a full Galaxy's Edge. We're getting like a half Galaxy's Edge. So I don't want Rise of the Resistance to come here. Although I don't know how that would work with the language barriers. They'll figure it out. But yeah, Star Traders is like, it's for Star Wars stuff. It is by far the best Star Wars store of any Disney. I've not been to Galaxy's Edge, so I can't say what the shops there are like. But pre-Galaxy's Edge, like Star Traders at Disneyland Paris was the best for Star Wars stuff. Like it's brilliant. You have like the build your own lightsaber, not proper build your own lightsaber like a Galaxy's Edge, but like the kids build your own lightsaber, and there's a screen and you can have a proper lightsaber battle and stuff. And yeah. But I'll tell you something, I know that we're having Galaxy's Edge opening in the Studios Park at Paris when it's open. But I wish that they would open it in the Disneyland park, because but from behind Hyperspace Mountain, from Hyperspace Mountain back, with the exception of PhilharMagic, that's all Star Wars. So to me, it would just make sense if we had Galaxy's Edge there. However, I don't mind Galaxy's Edge being in yeah, it should have been. I don't mind Galaxy's Edge being in the studios. One thing I want to make a comeback at Disneyland Paris, Star Wars was, I want March of the First Order back, and I want the Imperial March back. I would say I want Star Wars: A Galactic Celebration back, but I know that in Frozen Land we're getting a Phantasmic style fireworks. So that's not going to happen. But I would really love if we still had March of the First Order and the Imperial March and the Kylo Ren First Order recruitment. That will work at Galaxy's Edge. That would actually work at the American Galaxy's Edge as well. That's an amazing, that would work so well. They need to have that as a feature. But I tell you something, I loved March of the First Order in French. Was just, I didn't think it was possible to love Captain Phasma anymore. I didn't think it was possible to love her that much. Like, I loved her when my Yoda cake fell on the floor and then she stood on it. I loved her then, and I love her now, and I wish it didn't have to go. But the difference in that show after they closed off for Avengers Campus, because it used to start near Rock and Roller Coaster, and then of course they closed that for Avengers Campus, and then they changed the starting point from the far in the back of the park. They changed it to start from the Studio Tram Tour, which didn't take half as much time to march. So it literally would be en avant, and they'd march for about 4 counts of 8, and then she'd go stop, and they'd do the first show stop, and then they'd march to the stage. And the marches at Disneyland Paris, I don't know if any of you have seen my videos of the March of the First Order at Disneyland Paris. We had twice as many stormtroopers as in Orlando, and I think this is because they had a bigger area that they had to cover. They had multiple stages that they had to cover. They had a much larger area, because the area where they were performing, it was huge. So they had more stormtroopers, but I really want that to make a comeback when we get Galaxy's Edge. So yeah, going back to Discoveryland, we've done Autopia, the Nautilus, Space Mountain, PhilharMagic, and Star Tours. The only things left are Cafe Hyperion. This is the only food place at Discoveryland. It's a quick service. Depending on what season they've got going on at Disneyland, so like they'll have a Marvel season, a Star Wars season, the Frozen season, Halloween, they'll have a specialty menu for that, which will come with a burger, your fries, drink, and a dessert. And that usually costs around about €16.99. And in France, that's including tax, because we include our VAT is included in with all pricing. So there's no need to look at the price of things and think, oh, and add tax, sales tax. No, it's already included. And it's a lot cheaper. Like a pair of ears I've got the purple potion ears somewhere, and the purple potion ears in Orlando when I went, they were $27.99 plus sales tax. at Disneyland Paris, they were $19.99, including sales tax. And the exchange rate from pounds to euros and pounds to dollars is exactly the same. So that just goes to show the pricing difference. Like in America, like 99% of the merchandise at Disney World is the same as what's at Paris. So the merchandise is so much cheaper at Disneyland Paris, which is probably another reason why so many people bring 4 or 5 suitcases. So yeah, you've got the Cafe Hyperion, which is quick service. There is no drinks refills, none. It's against EU law, because of the sugar. There's a sugar levy. You're only allowed so much sugar. If it's got sugar in, you cannot refill it. Unfortunately, if you get a Coke Zero, because it's a fizzy drink, you still cannot refill it. This is also one of the only locations where you can, like at the quick service locations at Disneyland, you can get like the Minute Maid lemonade, which I adore. And at Cafe Hyperion, you can also get that at the vending machine. I'm not going to lie. I got about 6 bottles of that from the vending machine to bring home, because Minute Maid lemonade is not available in the UK, and I love it. Snapple pink lemonade is available here, but it's like stupid price per bottle. Like, really? But yeah, the sugar thing is like, and in a lot of these places they expect you to fill your own cup. You have to scan the cup, place it on the stand, and the machine decides how much is going into that cup. If you go back and you scan your cup again, it goes because you've had your drink. So there's no free refills at Disneyland. Not at Disneyland Paris anyway, because of the EU. Which the UK is no longer in the EU, so with a bit of luck we'll get refills now. I prefer water in the parks anyway, or a Powerade when I'm super thirsty. Soft drinks. See, the only one that really refreshes my thirst, and this is why I'll go with it every time at the parks, is the Minute Maid lemonade. It's either water or the Minute Maid lemonade. I will very rarely go with a fizzy drink in the parks. If I'm eating at one of the hotels, or I'm eating in the village and it's night, I might go for a fizzy drink then. Especially if I'm in the village. If I'm in the village, I'll have a fizzy drink, and then I'll go over to the sports bar where they have karaoke every Monday, and then I'll get drunk and do karaoke. Although I can sing, so I have to get very drunk so that it sounds like I'm not showing everyone up. So yeah, they don't allow, even when you've got like the Minute Maid lemonade, even Powerade. If you were to get Powerade at Disneyland Paris, they wouldn't refill it. There'd be no refills at all on any drinks. It's not allowed. It's under EU law. It's not allowed. This is like, yeah. And inside Cafe Hyperion is Videopolis, and there's a stage. Where are those vlogs? Which vlogs? The ones of me at karaoke? Like, not happening. I haven't sang in front of people. Jodie wants me to do a whole live stream of me singing. I told her to go stuff herself. Like, I will upload a video of me singing, but I will only sing around certain people. I had a really bad confidence knock. I used to actually perform when I was a kid. I grew up in the West End, so like, yeah, I used to sing on stage. I had a confidence knock recently. Jodie, no! When I'm at our show's photographer's house, me and him duetted doing I See the Light from Rapunzel. What I'm going to do is next time I go there, I'm going to see if I can get his wife to film me singing that. because that's the one I'm most confident with, and that's purely because I'm singing with somebody else. However, she secretly filmed me singing Reflection from Mulan, and when I hit the high note, she dropped the camera because she couldn't believe it. She dropped the camera, and you can just hear her going, "Fuck." I'm not going to say the word, but effing hell. She couldn't believe it. So yeah, I can sing, but when you've had your confidence knocked, it's like, I can understand where, like, say, Tom Holland's coming from. He grew up a performing child in theatre, singing and stuff, and like, he was Billy Elliot. He had a bloody good role. And then he had a confidence knock because somebody got jealous and told him he couldn't sing, and that was basically exactly what happened to me, only I was really bullied. So I very rarely sing in front of people. Karaoke is different, although I will choose songs where I will be singing with somebody else and we'll be making a prat of ourselves. Except for when I worked at Alton Towers, I actually did sing proper then, and I made a fool out of one of my team members, who used to say that he was the best singer. He could do this, he could do that. So I stitched him up, and he had to sing Teletubbies, and he had to sing Barbie Girl. He didn't brag about being the best at anything then. I have the video of him having to sing Teletubbies on my parents' computer at home. When I next go home, if any of you would like to see the video of me stitching up one of my team members at Alton Towers and making him sing Teletubbies at karaoke, I will upload that. But yeah, Buzz Lightyear Laser Blast is at Disneyland Paris as well, in Discoveryland. How do I feel about this ride and what it replaced? It's what it replaced that I have the problem with. Buzz Lightyear Laser Blast replaced Timekeeper, which, as we know, was voiced by Robin Williams. The music industry haven't sung professionally in many years, though. You just have to. Exactly. I'm constantly, Russ, literally all day long. If you could hear me in here, like, I sing pretty much all day, every day. But the second I hear someone walk past, I shut up. I just don't want the judgment. Like, there's people on this show. Our ringmaster's heard me sing, and he couldn't believe it. I was singing "I See the Light" from Rapunzel, and he was looking, and then as soon as he saw me, he just went. So yeah, it's there, and it will happen. I will sing in front of people again, but not just yet. I have to be really comfortable. I have got plenty of videos of me stitching my team members up when I used to work at Alton Towers, though. See, what happened is I worked at Alton Towers, and then between seasons I did Disneyland Paris, because Alton Towers was only seasonal, so I did Disneyland Paris between seasons. And then in 2007 I got offered Walt Disney World, and I had to turn it down. The reason I had to turn it down is turning 13 next month, and he's taller than me now, and he's turned into a right proper moody teenager. That can go do one. How do you, like, Russ, what do you do? How do you stop a teenage boy becoming a moody teenage boy? Because he is really, really pushing it at the moment. He doesn't when I can take him to Disney. When Disney's open, he's absolutely fine. When everything's open, he's fine. But luckily, he'll start calming down now because his archery's reopened, and he was able to go to archery yesterday. So hopefully, we'll get him back on track a bit. But yeah, Buzz Lightyear Laser Blast. It's under a massive refurb at the moment, actually. Heaven knows it needed it. It needed, everything in there needed a repaint. The Buzz Lightyear animatronic, as you're walking in, that speaks in both French and English. the face is a screen, but half the time the screen never worked. Jodie, I don't know if Jodie, have you ever been through that queue line when Buzz Lightyear is moving and talking, but there's no face? And it's like the stuff of nightmares. Like it never used to be a screen. It used to just be a proper animatronic Buzz Lightyear face, and then they changed it to a screen. And then from the moment they changed it to a screen, it was just like, I'm going to work today. I'm not going to work today. Well, that's nice to hear, Russ. Thank you. My kid's a good. He's a good kid at heart. I think being locked down for so long has just gotten to him because he's had no outlet. He's literally, the most he's been able to do is go on his bike. He's had literally no other outlet. Although in saying that, at his school, when they first went back to school in September, his year group, he's in year 8, which is the equivalent of, I think, 7th grade. So he's turning 13. They start off year 8 when they're 12 years old, and they turn 13 while they're in year 8. Unless they're born on the 1st of September, then they're already 13 by the time they start. But they had a marquee for their year group, and like his school is quite. There's only 8,500 people in our town, so there's only like 700 or so, 800, maybe 900 at a push at the school. So for year 8, like, they had to really figure out what they were going to do to separate them because the school's just not big enough. So for year 7 and year 8, they had them in a marquee, and the year 8 marquee just there was a couple of apple trees just outside, and so we had apple war, and we were getting emails from the teachers saying, please discourage your children from throwing apples and launching apples at other children and at teachers. Jay would come home covered in apple schmush. And then when we thought, okay, that's over, they've sorted the apples out, Jay comes home from school and he's soaked. And I mean soaked, but it's not water, it's hand sanitizer. The kids had emptied the hand sanitizers inside the marquee. And of course, because it's got a tarp floor, they've created a slip and slide. No other year group has done this. Like year 7's behaving themselves. They're the only other year group with a marquee. Year 7's are behaving themselves. Year 8's are acting like monkeys. So yeah, they turned their marquee into a slip and slide. Which meant they had to, and they were sliding along on the chairs as well, which meant they then had all their chairs confiscated. So they had their hand sanitizer stations they had access to the apple trees confiscated. They had, so that was basically their outside. They had their outside confiscated. Then they had their hand sanitizer stations confiscated, and the teachers had to control when they were having the hand sanitizer. And then they had their chairs confiscated, so they had to sit on the floor. And then when we were to get to Jay's archery, and I remember back when I was there, we were driving past the school, and you could see that a year 8 marquee was like really far back on the field. It was brown instead of white. I said, Jay, what have you been doing? He goes, oh, we've been throwing mud balls at each other now. It's like, oh. And then this time when they went back, so they went back, when did the kids go back? I can't remember when. They haven't long been back. February, I think they went back, didn't they? February or beginning of March, even. Beginning of March they went back. 8th of March, that's it, that's when they went back. We got a message, an email on the 10th of March. Please can we remind parents of year 8 pupils that fruits such as pears are not grenades. I don't. They moved and they were no longer in the marquee. They were in the old gym. So there's like the old gymnasium and the sports hall. They were in the old gymnasium, which is also sort of like the drama sort of area. And like when they're not using the actual stage, because the actual stage is in the main hall, which of course another year group was in, so they can't use that. So they're in sort of like the rehearsal, like they're in the old gym and the changing rooms area. And where did they get pears? Where did they get pears? Where did they get them? Did they all just suddenly get together? Yeah, we're gonna bring pears in and have a pear war. And the next one was Jay came home covered in banana smudge, and that was like, look, year 8 boys should not be trusted with fruit, because this is just not working. I think the teachers were just giving up. The teachers were trying not to let them run free, but they were just giving up. They've had a lot more on their plate recently. One kid was attacked for being black in the year 8, and my son was part of the group that broke it up and got the people to stop. So I'm really proud of him for that. Even though the kid that was the victim of the racism, he has bullied my son. My son stood up for him, so I'm really proud of that. Overall, it's actually a really good school, Russ. This is one of the best schools in the area, like the only school in the area. But for the big huge town that's nearest to where it is, it's one of the best schools, and they really care about the kids. Like, they really, really care about the kids. Everything, the kids come first. Their happiness, it all comes first. They get to know each and every individual one. Every individual one gets the help and the care that they need. It's just amazing. It's such an amazing school. But for some reason, the kids in year 8 seem to have... They were little idiots from the moment they started in year 7. Like, they really were. They were really going for, because year 7 is when they start senior school in the UK. It's when they start like high school, senior school. Yeah. Oh God, don't teach. I dread to think what these kids would do if they knew martial arts. If they knew Jay is excellent at archery, I dread to think what they'd do. Because Jay, my son with a bow and arrow, is lethal. Like, not lethal as in bad. He's lethal as in he could kill you without even looking at where he's firing that arrow. He's like Katniss Everdeen. He literally just has to pull the arrow and he's hit the target. He is like Robin Hood reincarnated. Even when he's not meaning to hit anything, he'll hit it. He's so good, like, he's crazy good with archery. But I dread to think what would happen if any of the kids at school found that out, because, yeah, there's only one other kid at the school that does archery, and he's in year 11, so Jay has absolutely no access to him at the moment. Like, literally, to try and target the I know my brother, my younger brother, used to do martial arts, and I wanted Jay to do martial arts for a while, and then for the longest time I wanted him to do martial arts, and then I realised where we live now, where he lives, like, he really doesn't need it, because it's such a small town and everyone knows each other, that if somebody is going to bully someone, then everybody else is going to come down on them like a ton of bricks. No one's going to stand for a bully in that town. So, like, if he doesn't want to do martial arts, I'm not gonna force him into it. If we still lived in a big city, he would have to do martial arts without a shadow of a doubt, because he'd need to be fully protected. But he's got a good head on him. He's got a really sensible head on him. It's just at the moment where he's been locked down, he's turned into a little well, I say a little, but he's bigger than me. So we're at that stage where he's going to start, because I'm sure we're at that stage where he's going to start, like, trying to tower over me and intimidate me, which is exactly what my younger brother did. It didn't get him anywhere. My dad is a former Hell's Angel. He's not gonna dare do anything to cross my dad. My dad is proper old school. proper old school. Like, you cross him, you know about it. But anyway, yeah, Buzz Lightyear at Disneyland Paris. The timekeeper used to be called Le Visionarium, and it was in the Buzz Lightyear building. The first time I went, it was there. By the time I worked there, it wasn't there. That was in the space of a year. And it was Robin Williams. It was not in French. It was Robin Williams's voice. And as a tribute to the fact that the timekeeper was there, Nine is still in there. She is in the she's in one of the scenes. She's on the floor, and if you know where to look, you'll see Nine. Oh, thanks, Russ. Like, obviously he's not here because, like, he has to go to school. I work in a circus, and when, like, I was mental health wise, I was a wreck. When he was really young, when he first started school, it kicked my PTSD off because of the experience I'd had at school, and I was getting worse and worse, and I realised very quickly that I was not going to be able to have anything to do with him going to school. And then I had lost my sense of self. Like, everything I ever knew was suddenly gone because I couldn't perform anymore. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be in a performing environment anymore. And then this particular show that I work on came to our town, because it tours small towns and villages, and it came to our town, and the ringmaster's kids were going to the same school as Jay, and well, one of them was going to the same school as Jay, one of them was going to the next one up. Jay had said he wanted to go and see the circus tent going up, so I took him down to the ground where the circus tent was going up, and he saw it going up, and I found out that the parents had no idea where they were taking their kids to school, because most traveling circuses, they'll usually, not anymore because the laws changed, they have to go to school, and they're only allowed to go to 2 different schools a year, so they have to stay at home. They would usually homeschool. If they're from a different country, they can still get away with the homeschooling. Not entirely sure what they can get away with if they're British. I'm really not. I know people that are pushing the limits, really pushing the limits. But back then, the ringmaster's kids, they went to a different school. Every single ground they went to school, so that they were still getting their socialization in. So we showed them the way to the school. Jay was hanging out with them. I met my ex. That's all I'm going to say on the subject of my ex, because he turned out to not be nice. But he's one of my best friends now. By the end of 2014, by the end of 2014, I was coming out to the show every weekend, and I was sort of coming back into a working environment, realised this was where I wanted to be, and that for my own mental health, it's where I needed to be. So come 2015, when we're getting ready for the full season, I had to make a decision. Do I stay at home with all the problems that I had? I couldn't work. I was under disability, everything. I had a social worker, key worker for my PTSD, the works. And then I made the decision that I was going to come on the road full time. And that meant for Jay, who was 6 years old, I thought, right, either he has to be homeschooled or he has to move in with my parents. They don't have custody of him, I'd like to say. They do not have custody of him. It's like a boarding school. I just don't pay for the boarding. I pay for everything else that he has, but not the boarding. So I said to him about coming to the circus, and I said, you can either come with me and you do your schooling on the road, or you stay with Nana and Grandad and you go to school during term time, and in the school holidays you come on the road with me. And he, in his mind, coming on the road with me went no school, so he was like, yeah, no school, woo. I was like, no, you're doing school, it's just that you will be doing school in the caravan. I will be teaching you. The school will be sending work to us and you will be doing that work and then sending it back to the school, which is exactly what he's been doing for the last year anyway. And at 6 years old, he went, oh, well, I may as well just stay with Nana and Grandad and go to school then. So he made the decision. It was completely up to him. And from that moment on, he has just flourished. He does struggle in school. He's not academic in the slightest. He does struggle, but we push him and we push him and we push him, and we do not let him drop his guard. We do not let him drop. We are looking into getting some extra help because he is actually much more suited to homeschooling. He doesn't get on well in exams or tests. One of the first things he had to do upon going back was a test. And he was okay in that one. And then at the end of the term, so this time last week, he had to do another test in maths. He got 1 right out of 70, and that was because he was panicking about the test. Had he been sitting that at home in the comfort of his own study, he'd have gotten 100%. He'd have gotten 70 out of 70. So we really have to look at helping him now and getting him some extra help. And yeah, but he still comes out every school holiday. Sometimes when it's not a school holiday, sometimes he is on vacation, so I can't see him in the school holidays. But yeah, he does come out all the time. And I know other people that, like, I know a girl who, she's now in her 17 in 2015. She was 20. She's 22. She's 22, and she was raised in exactly the same way. Her parents were both in the circus. She had to stay home in Hungary with her they were in circus in this country. She had to stay home with her parents in Hungary to do schooling. So, you know, he's got the best of both worlds. And then when I'm not working, usually in May half term, I'll take him with me to Disneyland Paris. It does take a village, Russ. It does, and I struggled with it today, actually. Jodie knows this, I very nearly didn't do the stream today because I had the mother of all panic attacks about, Jodie, what time was it? Would you say about 6:30, 7 o'clock? Literally about an hour or so before I was due to come live, and I was not, if that had been the time when I was going to go live, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But I work by I was raised in show business. I was raised in theatre. I work in a circus. The show must go on. Even though it can't actually physically go on at the moment because of lockdown, the show must go on. So pulled myself together and got on. And that's another reason why I'm thankful for you guys being here and to listening to me babble on. Oh my god, I've just seen how long this is going on and I'm not even finished covering. I'm going to really quickly finish covering Discoveryland. So just quickly finishing covering Discoveryland, you've got the Buzz Lightyear laser blast, which exits. This one is the stereotypical Disney shop. It exits into a gift shop. Which is all Toy Story themed. The gift shop is all Toy Story themed, near enough. And then you've got the annual pass office, which is on the left entrance of Discoveryland, and that's Discoveryland. So there. I haven't described it as much as I would like. I hope I have. Like, I've tried to describe how steampunk it is and how everything, near enough everything, is gold and teal and blues, and it's very with the barrows, it is very steampunk. Just imagine teal, gold, and steampunk. That is, with the exception of Buzz Lightyear, which I can't say what the Buzz Lightyear ride looks like now, because just before the park got closed because of COVID, for the second time, because Disneyland Paris did reopen in June last year, and then it closed again in late October, early November. I'm not sure if they quite got to Halloween or not. Yeah, since then, like, I can't say what Buzz Lightyear looks like. It used to just be a blue building with a plastic figure of Buzz Lightyear at the front. Now I know for a fact we have a different screen. So thanks, Russ. I do feel comfortable talking about it. Like, I'm not going to hide away from it. I'm not going to there are people in this industry that I will hide away from. There's one person who, I'm not going to name names, yes, they work on the show, that I struggle with, and who takes me back to my childhood, who I have had a lot of the reason why I've not been coping lately. But things will get better. When we're back on the road, things will be a lot better. But yeah, just quickly mentioning the Orbitron, because I did touch on the Orbitron. The Orbitron at Disneyland Paris, like the Astro Orbiter at Disney World, obviously you go up the elevator to get to it. You don't do that at Disneyland Paris. It's all ground level, and it's gold. Again, the theming is the same steampunk theming. It's gold, bronze, and teal, with hints of red. But it was all very chipped away, and the Orbitron was in dire need of a refurb, but we didn't realise it was getting a refurb until we saw aerial photos from like 2 days ago, and it wasn't there. Everyone's just like, what is that? That's where the Orbitron usually goes. And the castle's in a box. And we had an April Fool's going around over here, that the castle was going to be painted red and gold. We all got really sad because, like, we knew it was an April Fool's. Yes, it's the same. It's laser. It's exactly the same. Exactly the same. Well, not exactly. The layout is a bit different. Like, to get the Galactic Hero, it's a little bit different. But for the most part, it's exactly the same layout. And like I've said, in one room, because it replaced the timekeeper, in one room, Nine Eye is on the floor. If you look carefully, you'll see Nine Eye. They left her in there as a nod to Robin Williams and to the attraction that he voiced that people loved. So she is in there. But that is it for Discoveryland. I would very much, I think, prefer it if Galaxy's Edge was built there. But then it wouldn't make sense because the railroad would cut straight through Galaxy's Edge. Because yes, when Disneyland Paris was open briefly, from June to October, the railroad was back up and running. It was actually working. The railroad was open. We actually had a train. So that was fun. Updates I can give you about Disneyland Paris. We have a new bandstand. They have finally they've replaced the bandstand space train. Don't mind that steam train. It's a steam train from outer space. They've replaced the bandstand in Main Street. identical to the last one, only it's made of more durable material, because the wooden one was not going to last, and so they've made it so that it's identical. You wouldn't realise, because I didn't realise that it's a new one. It's a new one. Other updates, obviously the castle is now almost completely under scrim. So it's in a box. The very top of the castle is in, it's not got tarp. Yeah, it's under scaffolding, under very heavy scaffolding, but it's not got tarp around it yet. It's not got a scrim around it. The castle had, people don't realise, because from afar the castle looked perfect. It's far from perfect. When they refurbed the castle for the 20th anniversary, so 10 years ago, when they were working on this castle 10 years ago to make the changes they would need to put Disney Dreams on every night, they broke it. They legitimately broke the castle. The very top tower, the very high tower where the window is, there's a lip underneath the window of about that deep. It looks that deep. It's actually a lot deeper. In reality, it's about that deep. And that never used to be there. That used to not be there, that lip. And it's there because when they were installing the star, so if you watch my older videos, I'm trying to think which one will have it in, any of my videos from Christmas, any of my videos from Disneyland at Christmas and November, so say if you were to watch, and the Star Wars ones, if you watched any of my Star Wars Galactic Celebration and all that lot, the opening, you will see the star coming out of the castle. So the window is there all day. Say this is the window. It's there all day. And if you watch when it's getting dark, ready for fireworks. Now, fireworks, we used to have Dreams, which was fantastic. And then they switched out for Illuminations, which is exactly the same as what Shanghai have got. We didn't need that. We needed to keep Dreams. Why did they try to fix something that wasn't broke? Dreams was insane. It was amazing. It was what inspired Happily Ever After. They should have kept it. But yeah, if you watch, the window actually comes inwards and moves down very slowly, and the star comes out and opens up. And I've actually got that on so many people. And I know, like, people that go near enough every day, and they've gone, oh, we've never caught that, and you caught it. I'm like, yeah, because I know when it's coming. So make sure, like, if you want to see that bit, make sure you go and see it. But when they were putting that star in, they broke the castle. They broke the castle. When they were putting that star in, they made a crack in the bottom of the window that if I hold my hand up there, the crack, say this is the top of the window, the crack comes right the way down, which is why that lip is there. And like I said, from afar, it only looks about that much of a lip, but it's huge. So that has to be fixed. Dreams took a real toll on the castle, because a lot of the pyrotechnics and fireworks were being launched from the castle. So of course they put the projection doors into the doorway of the castle. Fantasyland at Disneyland Paris gets closed a good 2 hours or so before the fireworks show. And every night what this castle underwent just to prepare it for the show, even with Illuminations, it's so much, but Dreams really took a toll on the castle. Bless it. It was just, this castle was not built to withstand what was happening to it. So that is basically what they're doing with this refurb. They are making it more solid to make sure that it can carry on having those nightly firework displays and those nightly nighttime shows, because for the longest time, until the 20th anniversary, we only had seasonal nighttime shows because the locals complained. Then when it came to the 20th anniversary, the locals finally didn't get their way, and Disney were able to have nightly nighttime shows with Dreams. And Dreams was spectacular. Like, watching that, I kid you not, like, it felt like the castle was moving through the sky. Like, you sat there or stood there, depending on where you were, watching it, and you actually felt like you were flying through the sky with the castle. The movement was insane. Don't get this quite the same effect with Illuminations, but the Shadow Man sequence was mental. Of course, it was like very much like Phantasmic. You had the two screens, you had the water fountains come up that had the projections onto them. And Peter Pan, Dreams was about Peter Pan and his shadow. And Peter Pan would speak in English while Wendy would speak in French. And once again, it was very much when Wendy spoke in French and it would switch over to Peter. That's right, Wendy, today is a perfect night for dreaming. So they repeated what the other one had just said before saying the next thing. So if I keep pushing my ears back, I've literally just made them, and this particular headband is too big for me. And the castle at Disneyland Paris is insane. It is so beautiful. We had an April Fool's like picture that was going around saying they were going to paint it red and gold, and I was one of the ones that shared it. And I was so wishing, I knew it was an April Fool's, and I thought, this is just not fair, because it actually looked really nice. Like, we could have had a red and gold castle and it would have looked amazing, but then how would they have done all the projection? It just wouldn't work. And the dragon under the castle, Russ, do you know which dragon it is? In Disney folklore, do you know which dragon that is? Because a lot of people think that it's a certain dragon, but it's not. A lot of people think that dragon is Maleficent. It's not. It's actually Merlin's pet dragon. So people think it's a she. It's not. It's a he. It's Merlin's pet dragon, and it's the very last part of Fantasyland that will close. And we got shut in there one night. Me and a friend got shut in there. Chris, I loved the video put out last year of the Illuminations at Disneyland Paris. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, Illuminations is a beautiful show, but look up Dreams. Look up Disney Dreams 2012. So the very first incarnation of Disney Dreams. Like, look at the premiere night of Disney. They went live on YouTube. They streamed it live, and the very Dreams was just insane. Like, there was an annual pass holders night in 2019, and they were putting Dreams on for one night only, and thanks to the weather they couldn't do it. They did the projection, but they couldn't do anything else. And that star I mentioned that comes out of the castle, that broke the castle, you can see it from a mile off. Like, I remember in 2012 being there with my mum and my son, and where were we? We were at the Newport Bay. We had just been inside the Newport Bay, and we were coming out of the Newport Bay, and my mum went, "What on earth is that light?" And I went, "That's the star." She went, "No." It's like, "That's the star. That is the Illuminations, not the Illuminations." I went, "That's the Dreams star." And my mum's like, that's not the star. I went, "That's the star." And I said, "Look at the time." I said, "Dreams has just started. That is the star." And as we got closer and closer and closer, she was like, "Oh my God, you're right. It's the star." And the reason we were walking to the parks is because at that point, we were going to Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, which was open at that point. I was not happy about going. And my instincts about not being happy were proven correct in 2015. I'm not going to go into it here. If anybody wants to know what I know about behind the scenes of that show, please feel free to message me on Twitter or Instagram and I will tell you, but I'm not going to go into it here. I knew it was a he. Doesn't look like Maleficent. I just think it's cool that it's there. They should put a dungeon under Cinderella Castle and have it. They should. They should. I'll tell you something. A good thing about this dragon as well. Lady Tremaine and her daughters are walk-around characters at Disneyland Paris. Because yes, we do have a lot of walk-around. We never used to. We have loads of walk-around characters now, and Lady Tremaine and her daughters quite frequently can be seen going in to that lair and looking over the balcony going, "Wake up!" at the dragon. I will look it up. That was the first show I had watched from Paris. Loved the way they mixed the lasers, fireworks. Yeah, you need to watch Dreams. Look up the original Disney Dreams. I've got it on video, but it's at home on a memory card at home. So as soon as I go back home, I've got to upload it to my channel. We were stood in the central hub. Just insane, absolutely insane. Like Dreams was just, if you think Illuminations at Disneyland Paris is good, wait till you've seen Dreams, because there were several incarnations of Dreams. There was Dreams with Frozen put into it, which became Disney Dreams of Christmas, and then the Frozen stuff stayed. Then Merida got put in there. It got changed as time went on, but the original Dreams, look up the original Disney Dreams at Disneyland Paris. And Steve Davis worked on that, and he worked so hard. Like, he is one of the main people that put shows together for Disney, and he was just, you could tell he really worked so hard on Dreams. Like, he was so, oh, he got it so right. He got it so right, and you felt like you were flying through the air. But like I said, because they haven't, like at Disney World, they don't shut off Fantasyland or anything because the fireworks are not actually being launched from the Magic Kingdom. Disneyland Paris, the fireworks are being launched from the castle and from Fantasyland. So you cannot be in Fantasyland when they're setting up for that show. Another thing that broke the castle was the pyrotechnics, like the fire cannons and stuff. Like if you were to look at a close-up of the castle before it went under all of this scrim that's currently up around it, you've got tiles that are falling off, you've got burnt tiles, you've got all sorts. It needs a lot of work doing to it. So they're making sure that they can do, like, they couldn't do Christmas 2019. They couldn't do what they wanted to at Christmas. Usually they would do something like at Walt Disney World where they would cover it in lights. They couldn't do it because it wouldn't have held together. The tilings that were falling off would have fallen. The castle was in that much state of disrepair. It needed it. And before the virus, we were actually due to get Paint the Night. 2020, that was going to be the year that they were going to refurb the castle, and we were going to get Paint the Night parade. Now we're not. Like we are getting a nighttime parade, but they said we're getting a new parade that's nighttime ready. But that's just the normal parade anyway. All the parades at Disneyland Paris, like we've had, are all nighttime ready, because by the time winter comes around, like the 5 p.m. is pitch black. So the parade has to be nighttime ready anyway. So I don't know what they mean by this parade, this new parade is going to be nighttime ready. One thing I am very anxious about, I think Disney Stars on Parade is the best Disney daytime parade I've ever seen. And like, I've been in a Disney parade, and I think that the one they've currently got, like Disney Stars on Parade, is by far the best Disney daytime parade I've ever seen. Nighttime if you include winter, because you know, it gets dark. It's pitch black by 5 o'clock. And I've got a video of it at night. I've got a video of it at night time on my channel, and it was when they were putting the Christmas trees up. So you'll see Maleficent breathing her fire in the dark, and we didn't even need to have a villains after hours. But yeah, the lighting was amazing. So the floodlights were already there for Paint the Night, because they have to use them for Stars on Parade when it's at night. So when they say our new parade is going to be nighttime ready, I'm quite interested. I'd like to know what they mean by that, because sorry, my phone's about to die. I'd like to know what they mean by our parade is going to be nighttime ready, because as far as I was aware, it already was night. Oops. Live. All right, Jodie, love you. I'm going to be closing the stream out now in a second anyway, because I've been going for way too long. But yeah, I'm very interested to see what this nighttime parade is going to be. I would love it. Like, we used to have, at one point we had the Main Street Electrical Parade, and you can actually go on to Apple Music or iTunes or whatever you've got, look up Disneyland Paris. Baroque Hoedown is there, and it is the French version of the Main Street Electrical Parade. So rather than the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the French version. It's Mesdames et Messieurs et vous les enfants, and it's, yeah, Disneyland Paris. And it's, oh, I love it. I love it. At one point we had that. We had Fantalusion, which started off its life in Japan, and then it became Disneyland Paris's resident light parade. And yes, I did perform that one. I was facing backwards and I was very high up. And that one again was kind of a bit like, to me, it was reminiscent of Spectro Magic. So that bit of dust. To me, Fantalusion was like, I miss our electrical parade. Yeah, the first time I went to Walt Disney World for us was the nighttime parade was Main Street Electrical Parade. The second time I went, it was Spectro Magic. And Spectro Magic, that's my favorite Disney parade of all time. Followed closely by Stars on Parade, which is supposed to be the current parade at Disneyland Paris. But Spectro Magic, Fantalusion was our resident nighttime parade. It was beautiful, and it had that great big fanfare at the start, just like Spectro Magic. And the soundtrack for Fantalusion was, I rate it up there with Spectro Magic. Like, my favorite parades are definitely Stars on Parade, Spectro Magic, and Fantalusion. And I'm not saying that to be biased because of my history with Fantalusion, because I was in another two Disney parades as well. I was in the Villains Parade, and I was in the one before that. But Fantalusion to me is, oh, I get tearful thinking about it. I've got the music stuck in my head now. But the soundtrack for that is also, if you look up Disneyland Paris on Apple Music or iTunes or Amazon or whatever, it's there. Oh, I've got it stuck in my head. It was so good. It was honestly such a good parade, and it was just beautiful. One of the little outings, it's not quite a parade, but one I'm going to miss, and I miss it so much so that I was listening to it all day today, was Pirates and Princesses, Make Your Choice. And that particular season was replaced with Frozen, and the Frozen season was a flop. We had ABBA Elsa. The actual parade part of that was good. It was the show stop that let it all down. I kid you not, I spoke about the launch of of Hyperspace Mountain earlier. My friends, they filmed, my friends Fiona and Scott, they filmed the Frozen show. They went there for the first one and they filmed it, and they filmed facing the main front, because it was a weird, like, they didn't do it facing towards the castle or away from the castle, they did it facing towards Frontierland. So she was stood on the Frontierland side of it watching the Frozen show, and I was so bored of the Frozen show that I was just watching Hyperspace Mountain going poof every 40 seconds instead. And then I was like, oh, we're going back on the float. Oh, we're going back. Okay. And then the first time that I actually saw the Frozen show in person, I did the same. I went to that spot, so the same side that Frontierland's on. Frontierland's behind me. I'm looking and I can see, and I'm meant to be filming this, but I know I've got my phone like steady and watching stuff, but what I'm watching is actually Space Mountain every 30 to 40 seconds going poof. To me that was more interesting than the Frozen show. I like the music from the Frozen show, not the actual show stop, but the parade part of it, and I like the float. But the fact that they replaced Pirates and Princesses with it is just illegal. Absolutely just Pirates and Princesses, like, you were actually, the guests, all guests were actually encouraged to join in. So they'd get you all into the central hub, and this is what people from Disneyland Paris like. This is what Disneyland Paris guests like. They like to be included. So at Pirates and Princesses, you'd all gather in the central hub. There's 4 stages, and you'd gather in the center, and you just have this amazing time, and it's Pirates versus Princesses, make your choice. And there's a video, and there was a video that I was watching today, and there was a clear line down the center of the middle hub, and on one side you had the Team Pirates, and on the other side Team Princess. And these are just normal guests that have come in, gotten dressed up in pirate and princess gear whilst they've been in the park. So they've got flags, they've got all sorts, and it's just, and the cast members were joining in, and the actual performers from Princess and Pirates would come down and they would join in with the guests. And that's just magical, absolutely magical. And it was like, the atmosphere is so, that's okay, Kay, don't worry. The atmosphere is so, just, I can't describe it. It was electric. And then Frozen came along, and all of us like, yeah, and so many people, you could see they wanted to gather in the central hub, so they're gathering in the central hub for this show. No, you can't be in here. What? You have to stand across the road. What? Why do I have to stand across the road? I want to be in the central hub where I usually am. No, you can't be in the Central Plaza. Not for this one. So I can't join in. No, you can't join in on this one. Oh. So, yeah. Yeah. They have for us. And like, this was it was Frozen 2, An Enchanted Journey. And the music was insane. It was much better than the music from the actual film, believe it or not, because they'd redone the songs from the film, and the music was there was so much more to it, and it was just really good. And then this show stopped. Just, is that it? It was just the characters running from one stage to the other and waving. If that's a show stop, then just, like, when I took my friend, like, literally, I was there the day it all got shut down because of COVID. But it's probably my end. It probably was my end because the signal here is not that good. But yeah, the Frozen show, when I took a friend, I was there the week, and I was there on the day it all got closed down. When I took this friend of mine, she was like, oh, should we go and watch it? I was like, no. you're going to wonder what the hell I let you watch, and you're going to lose faith in Disneyland Paris if you watch that. I said, trust me, they're coming back this way in about 10 minutes. I said, we can go and get on It's a Small World, be done with It's a Small World, and just in time for them to come back, because they start from It's a Small World and finish at It's a Small World. So let's go and get on It's a Small World while they're doing their thing at the Central Plaza, and then when we get off, they'll be coming back. And sure enough, we did that, and she loved it. But anyway, I've been babbling for a long time now, so I'm going to get going. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so sorry that it's gone on this long. So sorry that it's gone on this long. I've just gotten so lost in talking, and I really like talking to all of you guys and replying to the comments and stuff. I actually really enjoy doing live streams. Like, it's so much fun. I really think this is the way forward. I really like doing live streams. Like, I don't have the signal to upload a video where I am yet. I have signal to just about enough signal to go live. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I shall hopefully see you guys next week. Next week I am definitely doing Disneyland Paris snacks versus Disney World snacks. And oh my god, you have to see the Wookiee cookie and the Yoda cake from Disneyland Paris. Like I said, I dropped my Yoda cake and Captain Phasma stood on it. Right, so thank you so much for being here, and I shall see you all next week. Thank you for sticking it out, Russ. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye.